The Vedic religious tradition, the proto-religion of the Indo-Aryan people, served as the origin for both Zoroastrianism and Hinduism, with Hinduism developing in the Indian subcontinent and the Zoroastrian faith flourishing in Iran. The Persian prophet, Zoroaster, is believed to be the first to make mention of cannabis as a sacrament. In the Zend Avesta, a collection of important religious texts in Zoroastrianism, hemp appears first in a list of over 10,000 medicinal plants. It was considered the chief religious sacrament of the priest class and was generally unavailable to the common people. This priestly class would consume bhang, sometimes referred to as banga or mang, mixed with wine, after which it is said that their bodies rested while their minds went on a spiritual journey. In fact, many of our modern conceptual imagery of heaven and hell comes from Zoroastrian priest Ardak Waraf, who was known to go on journeys to these realms through the use of bhang. Zoroaster's own wife, dissatisfied with this secondary shamanic experience, prayed to the Supreme Being that he give her his good narcotic, bhanga. Back in India, a new religion was developing based on the teachings of a sage named Siddhartha Gautama. According to legend, Gautama, the Buddha, subsided on a diet of cannabis for 6 years before his revelations and ascent to Buddhahood. As he sat beneath the Bodhi tree for 40 days and 40 nights, he consumed only a single hemp seed per day. And while most sects of Buddhism have largely forgotten or ignored bhang's important place in the life of the Buddha, a spiritual movement called Tantra sprung up in the 6th century, weaving Hindu and Buddhist beliefs into a new esoteric philosophy in which bhang played a preeminent role. In the Maha-Nirvana Tantra, bhang is said to assist in the Great Liberation. A prayer is contained in this sacred religious text that is supposed to accompany consumption of bhang. When translated, it reads, "May this cannabis be a blessing to my heart." The Maha-Nirvana also states that bhang is consumed in order to liberate oneself, and that those who do, in dominating their mental faculties and following the yoga or law of Shiva, are to be likened to immortals on earth. By the Middle Ages, bhang became so popular, in fact, that it was often consumed before battle, much in the way that alcohol was in the West. They believed that the consumption of bhang would make one's enemies feel possessed by spirits. A later religious tradition, Sikhism, which finds its roots in Tantra, forbids all drugs and alcohol, with bhang being the only exception. They call it Sudnidan, meaning giver of peace. And when the Sikhs' founder was presented with bhang by the Mughal king Babur, he was so delighted as to offer his blessing for Babur to have his kingdom for 7 generations. This Sudnidan was especially popular with a group of Sikh warriors known as the Nihang, who consume it to this day. And while colonialism has largely wiped out psychotropic plants the world over, the Sikhs received special permission from the British imperialists to continue using Sudnidan. In the late 1800s, when opium and other drugs of concern were made illegal in British colonies, a commission was set up who created a report on the importance of cannabis in Indian culture. It concludes that suppressing the use of bhang would be unjustifiable due to its ancient religious use among Hindus and the view that it was harmless when used in moderation. When we return, we'll explore the spread of cannabis into the ancient Western world